Welcome to the first ever industry news episode. The idea of this new weekly episode is that I'll review interesting links that I found throughout the week that you might also want to check out. Alright, so let's dive in with a few interesting links for this week. So a little while ago, PagerDutys had this cool post where they walked through their incident response process. What I thought was cool about this is that they walk through about being on call, what to think about before, during, and after an incident, along with lots of training links. There's also a lot of subpages in here. This will likely come in really handy if your team is putting together these type of procedures for your office. It's pretty in-depth too. So I'd recommend checking it out if you're interested in this. I've included all the links in the episode notes below. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. Tinders posted this pretty interesting walkthrough of their migration to Kubernetes. They chat about things like their cluster size, their process for building Docker images, their cluster architecture, and then they walk through a few war stories of getting this up and running on AWS. Personally, I really like reading this type of stuff, as you can tell it's hard-earned knowledge, and it might help you if you're headed down this path too. Another thing that's interesting about this is they chat about how this is a year-long process, and how they're running tens of thousands of containers on AWS. I'd say it's worth a read if you're interested in this. This article also reminded me of a similar post GitHub published back in 2017 on their migration to Kubernetes. So if you found the Tinders post interesting, you might also check out the GitHub one here. Alright, so let's move on to the next cool post. I found this interesting page with a few quick tips and common mistakes that might happen at the command line. I personally use this second suggestion here for redirecting output very often. Say for example that you have some process that you're running in the background and it's spitting out a lot of logging data, along with some errors if things go wrong. And your intent is to capture both the standard out and standard error message into a single log file that you can later review if needed. Well, you can use this very useful pattern here. Basically, you're going to run your command, you're going to redirect the output to this log file, and then these characters here say that you want to redirect standard out and standard error into this log file. It's super handy in that you can run this in the background and then you can know, hey, I'm grabbing all the logging data along with the errors. So this is a pretty handy trick. Alright, let's move on to the next one. I don't know about you, but I often find myself only using the basic features of Git, things like git add, git commit, and git push. I don't really explore the internals beyond what I need. However, I did stumble upon this page and it suggests a few tips for writing better commit messages. But the sort of interesting thing here is this link to the Pro Git book. I didn't know it was published online for free. So if you're looking to brush up on things, you might also want to check this out. I've included the link in the episode notes below. Alright, the final set of links I wanted to share is this 4-part blog series called A Practitioner's Guide to System Dashboard Design. This series is pretty easy to digest and it walks you through some high-level thinking around what your end users need, how to scale and lay out your graphs, and some key metrics you want to monitor. Personally, I found the review and summary sections in these blog posts particularly interesting as they're packed with useful tips and tricks. I'd recommend checking these out if you're looking to configure some internal dashboards. Or maybe you just want to refresh what you're already doing. Alright, that's it for this episode. Please let me know what you think of this new episode format. My thinking is that on a week-to-week basis, I'll just jot down a few interesting links that I find and we'll do a quick episode on it. Alright, see you later.